A very warm welcome to Newsline, and you are watching Mediaverse and On Point with me. There are multiple developments that have taken place in Manipur. The first development that has taken place in Manipur is that the Manipur Police on Thursday warned that if the force is not allowed to perform its normal duties, the government might be compelled to deploy central forces and impose Armed Forces Special Powers Act in the strife-torn state. Manipur Police has also warned Arambai Tenggol. It states that the members of Arambai Tenggol had carried out targeted attack on the above officer as well as attacked the house and properties of the additional ASP in connection with the incident. And it says that they should allow police to discharge the duty. So we are talking about multiple issues here. And then the statement by the governor saying hundreds of crores of rupee has been spent, and governor very categorically pointed out 800 crores loss, 219 deaths. So today we are going to have a three-pronged discussion. And the reason why? Because Manipur Police Commandos staged an arms-down protest over a restraint order on action against armed group Arambai Tenggol on Wednesday. They were pretty upset. The police personnel across districts laid down their arms against the abduction of ASP by an armed group. A mob of 200 people attacked ASP's house and abducted him. Later, the police managed to rescue him, but the police commandos could not take that action of strength because they had to engage in restraint against them. There may be reasons why this restraint had to be demonstrated, but they were upset. Though the case under UAPA were registered against the militants who kidnapped ASP, it fueled immense resentment in the force for not being given free hand. So now what has happened? There are three things that has happened. There is a press conference that took place in which police warned that the force is not allowed to perform its normal duties. The government might be compelled to deploy central forces. Condemning Tuesday's live attempt on Additional Superintendent of Police Amit Singh and other personnel by armed members of the Maiti radical group Arambai Tenggol, Inspector General K. Kabib requested the citizens of the state not to support such acts. If the police are threatened, they will not be able to work. On the other hand, Manipur Governor Anusuya Uke on Wednesday told the state legislature that 219 people have been killed in ethnic violence that roiled the northeastern states in May last year, which has resulted in the loss of 800 crores to the exchequer. That's the second part of the story. Manipur Police has warned Arambai Tenggol. Now, Manipur Assembly also passed a unanimous resolution. The deadline for the extension of the suspension of operation agreements ends today. Manipur Assembly passed an unanimous resolution asking the centre to scrap controversial suspension of operation agreement with 25 Kukizo insurgents in the ethnic violence state. But you know what happened? This was triggered by something on Wednesday. When Manipur Police Commandos on Wednesday staged an arms-down protest against Tuesday's attack on East Imphal resident of senior police officer who was subsequently overpowered and kidnapped. The police commando unit in Imphal West District had held a meeting in morning, resolved to stage the protest. Soon its personnel laid down the rifles in a straight line on a bench. By afternoon, commando units in other 5 valley districts also staged the symbolic protest. Symbolic. So please, I should be very clear. It's a symbolic protest. They didn't revolt against the state, it was symbolic. The reports have come out that the commandos are also unhappy because the higher-ups did not allow them to retaliate in the manner they should. They have decided to continue to protest till they get an appropriate response from authorities. But it does not mean that the system is out of order. The meeting with the Chief Minister has taken place, but it has sent shock waves. And the reason why it has sent shock waves is because police is the tip of the spear of order. And if that is challenged, then you really have a problem on your hand. So let me play out the most important bite. Then I'll introduce the guest in studio. With me is my input editor Brijesh Pandey. And then we'll start the discussion, a three-pronged discussion. The kidnapping, the protest, appeal, resolution by Manipur Assembly and the details given by the governor of the state. Let's listen in.
This is to clarify what actually happened regarding the case. Since the case is under investigation, police will not able to reveal all the details, but some facts which is there that we want to clarify so that public understand what has actually happened. On 27th February 2024 afternoon, information was received by our police that 2 vehicles were snatched by some armed miscreants and taken away. So immediately after that vehicles were taken away from North AOC oil depot. So immediately after receiving the information, police has alerted all the nakas and has also informed all the police officers to look and rescue these vehicles. So in such search, our Sri Moirangtham Amit Singh and our Inspector P. Achoba Mehtai with other officers were able to intercept these 2 vehicles and they were able to rescue it. Along with that, they have apprehended one individual who was involved in that incident also. In this connection, one regular FIR is also registered in Imphal police station. That FIR is 106 close bracket 2024 under section 379A 400 506 oblique 34 IPC and 24 1 bracket B Arms Act. The other incidents, what has happened after that our Sir Jayanta has briefed. This is what actually happened. Here if you see, our police officer was doing his lawful mandated duty. So after this, targeting him or his family or other officers involved in this, our police department from the rank of DGP to VDF, we all are condemning it very strongly.
So now let me straight away go to Suhas Chakma. I am also joined by other guests. Let me introduce them. I am joined by Dr. Thangolal Hauke, Assistant Professor JNU, Dr. Sriram Rajesh, journalist, social activist, Suhas Chakma, Director, Rights and Risk Analysis Group, Major General Ashwini Suwach, Defense and Geopolitics Expert, and Brijesh Pandey in the studio. But let me just go across to Suhas Chakma first. Suhas, is this protest by police something unique? Can you elaborate on it? Why they were so upset?
Well, I mean, it is not unique. It is not surprising. I had mentioned earlier in your shows that, once the conflict with the other communities and the arms which were looted earlier and the ammunition which were looted, they will be used against civilians, and, a couple of arms will bring more arms. So this had to happen. And why should it be shocked? At the end of the day, when thousands of arms and lakhs of ammunition were lost, and when the CBI could not even investigate the cases, when the armed forces, the central government armed forces, we are not allowed to arrest certain, alleged militants, etc. And when the security forces had to show their identity cards to pass through the barricades put up by the civilian groups or the so-called civil society groups. I mean, these things have been happening. The only exception in this case, it's happening among the particular community, in this case, the Métis and the police. Otherwise, it's not surprising at all. It is not surprising at all. And I think we just have one lesson to learn.
Okay.
If somebody reads the book written by Bed Marwa, who was governor of Nagaland also, the commissioner of Delhi Police, the Uncivil Wars, you will see how Mrs. Gandhi and the Congress had created different armed groups to settle political issues, etc., in Punjab, in Assam, etc. And they became Frankenstein monsters. So today, people are talking about Arambai Tenggol. And Arambai Tenggol, the police are not being allowed to take actions. So they have become basically the same kind of Frankenstein monsters with huge intensity. As much as you could say, what we had seen in Punjab or elsewhere. So it's not surprising when the state creates this kind of Frankenstein monsters, it had to pay a price in the past and it shall have to pay a price in the future. And I do not think in position of the only issue is the government lacked a complete intention to act against this.
Okay, that's
the last point. Last point, just one point.
You're not answering my question, Mr. Chakma. I asked you about the arms down protest. You're not answering my question.
No,
I asked you specifically on the police arms down protest.
When the police condemns a particular criminal group, you could say that the state no longer exists.
Okay.
When the police condemns instead of taking action, then you can understand the helplessness.
Mr. Sivach, the Manipur police on Thursday also said if the force is not allowed to perform its normal duties, the government might be compelled to deploy central forces and impose Armed Forces Special Powers Act in the strife-torn state. Your comments, sir.
Yeah, very correct. You see, Kritikan Arambai Tenggol has become more powerful than required. The fact today is the one, you have created Arambai Tenggol. Today it starts challenging everyone and the authority of the government. The point today is that Armed Forces Special Power Act is only selectively being applied at certain places and certain places it is not there. And we have been talking it from the beginning that you are afraid of police or armed forces because they are having a weapons and the common people are not having, militants are having a very limited weapon. But in Manipur, what has happened is that with number of weapons being looted, that and also come from Myanmar, today everyone is being armed to the teeth. And therefore, the point is that everyone is challenging the even authority of police. No one is afraid of police today. And that's what happened is this Arambai Tenggol group, that they have a guts to abduct the ASP from town, and thereafter even the police force was there, they couldn't do anything. So it means it shows that they have become much powerful than what we have anticipated. A time has come, they must be shown their place. And very rightly, the police or the commandos have protested against it. They are just trying to convey that it looks as if police has not been given free hand to go after these militant groups and these criminal groups which are becoming too powerful. They may be having a political sort of leverage, but time has come that we have to go all out against all these groups. Okay. Then only you can sort out this problem. You see, selectively applying to certain groups and not applying to all groups will not able to resolve. So my recommendations are that we have been talking, please put Armed Forces Special Power Act in the complete
Sorry,
Manipur.
I'm cutting you, General Sivach, because there are a lot of points to be discussed, but because today's discussion is five-pronged, so I'll come to you because there is a SU agreement, there's a Manipur resolution which has been taken out today. Yeah. Your quick comments, Brijesh, on the arms down protest that has happened.
I think, it's a clear indicator of the fact that the state has surrendered. And when I say the state has surrendered, what I mean is that this is something, very honestly speaking, this is something which was bound to happen. The reason I'm saying this is that people forget that one of the bigger act of holding the state to ransom happened when Arambai Tenggol called all the lawmakers to their place, to the fort, and there few of the legislators were also assaulted, but not single one of them complained. The fact that today when the entire Manipur police were outraged by the sheer audacity of the act which was carried out by Arambai Tenggol as per the police release, they were not allowed to retaliate in kind and content, which is a clear indication that the top leadership of the police was also fearful of the fact that it might carry some sort of political repercussion. And that is the reason why the constables, the commandos were forced to lay down their arms to send a signal that either we act or we have just surrendered to the criminal acts which are being carried out by Arambai Tenggol. But this was bound to happen because you can contest 50 things and 50 theories, but the fact of the matter is that the act of Arambai Tenggol has gone unchecked till now.
Okay, I'll come to Dr. Hawke, who's been very patiently waiting because there are other issues to be discussed. So the big issue is that Arambai Tenggol has again become part of the discourse, and this time it is the so-called display of strength by Arambai Tenggol by professional Manipur Police, because Manipur Police is a professional organization and Manipur Police is batting at multiple fronts. And for them to do a press conference and for them to say this, that you got to cooperate and you should not allow these antisocial elements
In fact,
to
AFSPA
help
was
you.
kind of used as a threat.
Yes,
that if you
to
don't allow us to
understand
function, you will be
absolutely
put
that,
under
things will go
AFSPA.
out of control.
It is
So,
more of a threat.
So the press conference of the Manipur police should be taken seriously by every citizen in Manipur, because it's not a warning. It's a future that they are talking about, that if they do not cooperate with the police, then things will become worse for them. I think everyone in Manipur should pay heed to Manipur Police and the statement that they have given out. It's time for a short break. We'll be back, and then there's another aspect of this whole conversation, which is the future of the SU agreements.
Start with the end in mind. You need to know where you want to reach. Every morning that we wake up, we are exercising our choice. The destiny is decided. The results are known that I'm going to win. Life of a goalkeeper is something which has always intrigued me.
When you come into a stadium, this is the highest level of pressure.
When I set out to do something, I decide in my mind that failure is not an option.
What you feel very strongly about, those are the stories to tell.
I have a mind which is absolutely restless.
Mind and body are entangled sensations.
That brings me back to golf. It's an amazing game.
This is not a perfect game. You only learn from them.
If you have a formula to a success, then you can replicate it.
I feel this is my first step. I'm starting now.
Winner is first born in the mind. I think, therefore I am. We are all about our mind.
This and more. Streaming on News 9 Plus. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
Okay, now let me straight away go to Dr. Haukip. Then after that, I'm going to play 2 more bites. Dr. Haukip, your statement, because you were left out of the discussion, on the protest that the police did and the press conference that happened, sir. Please unmute yourself, Doctor.
Yes, particularly before I come to those situations, I think Suhas has clearly pointed out, which I have the same view of the current situation. We currently have a Frankenstein situation right now, and that is undeniable. And last year, I was writing in various mediums that this situation will arrive. And it has arrived since January 24. And since January 24, the Arambai Tenggol, which is a kind of a revival of a medieval kind of fighting force in medieval Manipur kingdom, has been patronized by the administration for the last 10 months. And this is the problem. And now we have a Frankenstein situation where whether you have to kill the Frankenstein or the Frankenstein will give a threat to you. So the government has to decide which one to choose. You impose PR in Manipur on Manipur government or the whole of Manipur territory, or you eliminate the Frankenstein created. So that's the situation. Either you impose PR to the state, or it should be
Dr. Haukip, I'm reading a report, Dr. Haukip, the IGP IK Muiva says, for police to say, quote unquote, Muiva says that if the police are not able to do their normal duties due to lack of cooperation from the public or obstruction from the civil society and the other organizations, then the central security forces would have to come in to assist. That means CRPF, BSF, Assam Rifles, Army will have to come in and assist. This will result in a situation which will be far more undesirable, he said. Now, I mean to say, that's the politest way in police can send a message to these armed miscreants. The politest message, I would say.
Definitely.
Doctor.
Now, unless the police controls everything, then these conflicts will go on and perpetuate and even go worse than the situation that we have right now. So the police has to control without any kind of biasness, and they have to abide by the rule book. And the chief minister, who is also the home minister, should give full power to the police to impartially implement what is in the police manual. So it's a law and order situation, and the police has to handle everything. Otherwise, this conflict will continue, and the situation will be worse than what we have. You have to choose between the Frankenstein or the government. So it's clear, and there's nothing academics or any other social activists would say that this is a situation whether you choose either of them, or if you are choosing the Arambai Tenggol, which rules the valley for the last many months, then chaos will happen and conflict between the two communities will continue for the coming days, and this will never end. It will continue to perpetuate without any end in sight. So the central government has to decide. We have been talking about imposition of ASPA for a few months to control the arms looting as well as the disorder in the valley, but that's not in favor of the central government. Then we have been imposing, so many suggestions, but that doesn't go well. So the government has to choose. Otherwise, even the law and order situation in imphal will, deteriorate, and eventually the Frankenstein will control everything in the valley. Then the state will be out of order everywhere. That's what I see. Rather than looking into different ways.
Fair enough. I'll come back to you. Let me play out couple of more bites on this development.
Whatever we do, the police, we do it moderately, and of course some few things may be there, but generally the police are always doing things as per law and ensuring the safety, security of all the citizens of the state. And now, if the civil police are not able to perform their normal duties due to lack of cooperation from the public or obstruction from various CSOs or organizations, then normally what happens, as in all other states of India also, the other central security forces will automatically has to come in to assist, to help. And that means the CRPF, BSF, Assam Rifle, Army, all has to come in to assist. And that will result in a situation which is far more undesirable, which will be far more further from the normal situation that is prevailing in this state.
Any of our police is involved in any wrong thing, you are always welcome to come and give a complaint, and we will do as per law. But do not take law in your hand, and it will create more and more problem only. And we also condemn the character assassination of our officers and the police in the social media. Whoever do such things will also be booked under relevant sections of the law. So with this, once again I request all the public of Manipur, please cooperate with police. Let us do our duty, and we are doing duty 24/7. You all know that how much lives we have protected. So please help us to do our duty.
So Mr. Chakma, the governor says that 800 crores to the exchequer has been lost, 219 people have died because of this conflict, and the police is saying that please allow us to do this job. Before I end this part of the discussion and move on to the Sioux issue, what is this telling us, this press conference? I don't think any press conference can happen like this, in a state which is undergoing political, social and ethnic uncertainty. What is this telling us when police is saying, boss, cooperate, boss, behave, boss, things can deteriorate, cooperate?
When the police shows this kind of helplessness, because at the end of the day, they are appealing to the people who are armed and who should be booked under the Arms Act, apart from all other acts. When they make this kind of an appeal, because this appeal is not meant for the civilians, because in the first place, civilians have gone to the police have taken action, and they have retaliated. So it basically shows that, the edifice of this structure, the government has collapsed. My fear is, Arambai Tenggol, as per the latest report which has come out in the media, Their strength have increased by 614%, and their strength at the moment is about 50,000. Because they are so powerful and so popular in the community, prior to the elections, no action will be taken. So that's one fear. The second fear is Arambai Tenggol is not a cadre-based organization. It doesn't have the command structure like even other insurgent groups. Other insurgent groups, they are also same, but they still have some command structure. So I do not think there is anybody in the Arambai Tenggol who can exercise powers to say that this is the order of the executive and all of you have to abide by. So that command structure doesn't exist. Because that command structure doesn't exist at local level, whoever wants or whoever has the arms, whoever is affiliated to the ideology of Arambai Tenggol can act the way he or she wishes without being accountable to its own leadership. That's a bigger problem, because if you appeal, and if there is a president of the Arambai Tenggol, of course, he makes an appeal. He has no authority to enforce his orders because there is a structure, command structure, nobody is paying. So it's a voluntary kind of a group. And that's why, with access to arms and ammunitions, and we have a bigger problem than the state is comprehending at this point in time.
Before I go into the break and go to the other side, I would say that the press conference done by Manipur Police, is suggested of a couple of things. It also means that a bolder, bigger decision can be taken. More powers can be given to the central forces. It is also a direct message to the civil society organizations which are taking law into their own hands. And I would say that the attempt of the civil society organization and the sort of, the life attempt they made on the additional superintendent of police, Amit Singh, should be universally condemned. This armed organization, by acting against the SP, was trying to challenge the order of the state, whatever the order is, order of the state. And I think it's time that this message goes, that there are lines which will not be allowed to cross. There are 50,000 people displaced in the state, and I'm very happy that Manipur Police categorically has warned the civil society organization, warned the people who were supportive, not participating but clapping, not doing anything but facilitating, not participating but silently not helping police, because ultimately you got to be proactive in all these issues, and if you are not, then there will be a problem. On the other side of the break, General Sivach, I'll ask you, what is going to be the fate of these two agreements now? Now there is a resolution in place. I think reports are that the highest meetings at highest level have taken place. I'll come to you, but after a short break.
Why is the state not looking at putting an embargo on that?
As a Telangana person, I will not accept.
How do ordinary folks deal with this?
Currently, the industry is facing a lot of challenges as far as demand is concerned. Basically, that US markets has slowed down because of high inflation.
So obviously, diamonds being a dream product, something which doesn't have a utility value or is seen as a luxury. So that obviously goes off your shopping list. That's the first item that will go off your shopping list, especially in recessionary trends.
That lab-grown diamonds are not mined, and they do away with the entire mining. So they save up on all the environmental damage that is associated with mining, and of course, the mining cost, which is why they're even more affordable.
People that is impacted by all these recessions are the artisans, are the people who work in this industry, right? But I think lab-grown diamond has allowed them to actually use their skills in the same product.
This and more, streaming on world's first news OTT, News 9+. Download now.
Start with the end in mind. You need to know where you want to reach. Every morning that we wake up, we are exercising our choice. The destiny is decided. The results are known that I'm going to win. Life of a goalkeeper is something which has always intrigued me.
When you come into a stadium, this is the highest level of pressure.
When I set out to do something, I decide in my mind that failure is not an option.
What you feel very strongly about, those are the stories to tell.
I have a mind which is absolutely restless.
Mind and body are entangled sensations.
That brings me back to golf. It's an amazing game.
This is not a perfect game. You only learn from them.
If you have a formula to a success, then you can replicate it.
I feel this is my first step. I'm starting now.
Winner is first born in the mind. I think, therefore I am. We are all about our mind.
This and more. Streaming on News 9 Plus. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
20,000 people dead and counting. What's happening in the United States of America is unprecedented. You will have to pay for this.
Welcome back. And in the second part of the debate, a very important development has taken place. The deadline for the extension of the suspension of the operation agreement ends today, and Manipur Assembly has unanimously passed the resolution saying the central government should not extend SU agreement with all those who have repeatedly violated the ground rules. Manipur BJP MLA Rajkumar Imo Singh said in a post on Twitter, the Manipur Legislative Assembly has passed a resolution unanimously and urged the Government of India to abrogate the suspension of Operation Pact with all Kukizo militants. Central government should not extend SU against all those who have repeatedly violated the ground rules. The Kukizo insurgent group signed a tripartite SU agreement with the centre and the Manipur in 2008. Every year, a joint monitoring group reviews the SU agreement and decides whether to end or renew it. Broadly, the SU agreement says that the insurgents are to stay at a designated camp and their weapons locked into storage to be monitored regularly. General Sivach, your assessment, sir. What's going to happen, sir?
The point is that this SU agreement, very rightly said by you, is been signed in 2008 in August 22nd, and it is reviewed every year and then being given extension. The terms and conditions of this are very clear, that these 25 militant groups which are there, their weapons are there in the armory and they are under lock and key, and they are also supposed to stay in the camp area, and they are paid about 6,000 rupees per month. Now the question comes is that whatever weapons have been looted, I don't think any weapon has been looted from these armory which have been locked and kept. And what is the basically intelligence? Have these militants which have now surrendered and they are in camp, are they also involved in this militant activity? That's a mute question. That can be only answered by the joint monitoring group which is overseeing this. In case if that has not happened, I don't think we should abrogate suspension of operation, because it is still working. It is only that Methi groups are telling. But central government and state government must take a very impartial view and see itself on situation on ground, that are these people who have kept their weapons and those who are in the camp area, have they violated the terms and conditions? If they violated terms and conditions, of course you then abrogate the SU terms and conditions have been violated, then you basically sort of suspend it. The SU should be done away with it and the operation can be carried out. But my take is, have they done it? That's the main thing. It should not be done on basically protest by the other community like Methis in this, because these are Kuki and the Joe group. So this has to be seen. It is a very thin line. If you take a decision now and say that, okay, we abrogate suspension of operation order, will not no more there, then you are adding this 25 militant group in the environment that they will be also operating against the security forces and against the other community. So this is a danger. There is no the solution to such type of problem. In this, you have to be very careful before taking any decision. My take is that whenever we are discussing here, we have not able to find a very reasonable answer that have they violated any terms and condition of the sue has been given.
Okay.
If they have not, then we should not. I don't
Okay.
think we should come under pressure of any community and do something, because they will add other 25 militant group in the environment, and this will not be conducive for the security point of view, and this will add pressure on the security forces. Karthikeyan.
Okay, I think that's a very solid counter argument, sir. That's a very solid counter argument, because then you'll be expanding the theatre, and then you'll be expanding the elements who become part of the theatre. Dr. Haukip, on General Sivaj?
Definitely, I agree with General Sivaj that if you suspend the suspension of operation with the Kuki militants, then at this juncture, of conflict, the militant groups or any armed organizations or groupings, they have the full support of the people, because they are the only ones protecting against the other group. So it will be very difficult for the army as well as the state government to control them, because when they have the support of the people, full support of the people in this armed conflict situation, then you are only adding fuel to the fire. And definitely, I think it's wrong to say that. Let me come back to how this ceasefire has been signed, because after decades of fighting against the Indian government or state government, these armed groups are coming to the negotiating table to negotiate under the Indian Constitution, and it took more than 2-3 decades for them to come to the negotiating table, and abrogating it just because someone blamed certain things. That has to be investigated properly, and I hope the Manipur Chief Minister also said during the early days of this conflict that the Sioux groups are in their camps, the arms are intact, and everything is intact. That's the word of the Manipur Chief Minister himself. So if there is anything, then the joint monitoring group should discuss and sort it out. And abrogation of Sioux is not the solution. Instead, we should wish for peaceful resolution of these armed groups in the form of political settlements, rather than any other things. So the central government, which is likely to extend the ceasefire agreement with the Kuki groups in the coming days, maybe they may delay it for a few days because of the volatile situation in imphal. But I believe that this ceasefire will be extended, and amicable solution would have to be arrived in the state of Manipur, as well as definitely in Nagaland and other state of the northeastern region.
Okay. Mr. Chakma, your views on the Sioux agreement and the unanimous resolution that has been passed today. I think there was a meeting which also took place in Delhi, though I can't verify which department was involved, but obviously the security agencies must be involved. Your position?
The center has no option but to extend the Sioux agreement, simply because on the other side of the border, the key interlocutor of the government of India, that's the Tatmadaw, the junta, has collapsed. You do not want the insurgency to start, then it affects the entire region, stability of the entire region. I have been saying many times that, for the last 76 years, this has not happened. Now junta has almost collapsed in the entire territories other side of India. So the decision on Sioux has to be taken on national security interest, not because of the contest between two groups, whether it's the Métis or the Bukis. So it has to be extended, because if it is not extended, the center will seriously invite much more serious problems. And the last point on this is, I think, the situation which we have in Manipur today, it doesn't exist anywhere else in the world, not even in Gaza, or not even in Ukraine, not even Syria or Yemen. I mean, the situation which we have in the middle of India, a part of India, a territory of India, doesn't exist anywhere, because the state doesn't exist. The armed groups are very powerful, and they roam around openly. and the police express helplessness. So I think this is a really unique situation, and it will come in our face at certain point of time, because you cannot control the armed groups which you create. You cannot put the genie back into the bottle. Not possible at all. So I do not know how we will respond to it, but I'm very concerned about the situation.
No, I think there are multiple developments that have taken place, Mr. Chakma. You have an assembly resolution, you have a meeting today, you have a deadline issue, suddenly you have this arms down protest which took place, then you had this press release by the Manipur, if I go to the press, I don't want to bore any one of you, I've got the entire release, and the seriousness of it is, for example, it says use of social media to target any officer or unit will be strongly dealt with by taking up cases and action. It states Manipur Police is a neutral force, not acting against any community or in favor of one. With Manipur Police being targeted, the need for calling an army and other central forces will have to be enhanced. People should cooperate, with police. I think I take this very seriously. I take this press release very, very seriously. I'm also joined by Professor Prasanajit. How are you, sir? Long time.
Yes, thank you for inviting me again.
Not at all. It's always been a pleasure to have you in my show, sir. So, your opening comments on Sioux agreement. What do you expect, sir?
Yes, suspension of operation agreement is a long overdue thing, and it is in operation already. So, there should not be any change in the status quo, as my predecessors have also opined. Now, what I see that what is happening on the ground all the time, a certain kind of a political arm twisting, using underground, using even legitimate forces who are pressed to the corner to respond to the vigilante group. Now, this is deliberately precipitating a crisis situation, and there are actors and factors in any such crisis situation. Therefore, the existing Sioux between paramilitary or Indian military and the Kuki insurgent groups or any other insurgent groups, including UNLF, has to continue in the interest of peace and stability of the region. So I would rather say that this kind of a security crisis needs to be avoided. And this is the primary responsibility of the state government, that in and around the process of governance and the institutions of governance, when there are these kind of forces and factors that are capable of creating a security crisis, which is a direct fallout of this months-long ethnic conflict that has happened, actually compounded the situation in many different ways, and it has thrown up a fresh set of actors who are not abiding the rule of law.
Fair
and
enough.
Therefore, the ways have to be found out now how we resolve this stalemate.
Done. Your thoughts on the Sioux agreement, sir?
Well, I think, the government would be exacerbating the situation if they go back on the Sioux agreement. And I think, the government should take a more holistic approach. And if there are any shortcomings, if the government feels that the organizations which are part of the Sioux group are violating the agreement, then the government can take remedial measures. But right now, it looks like that, that you are acting under the pressure of one community against the other, and that would be a kind of a knee-jerk reaction, because once you abrogate the Sioux agreement with the 25 influential Kuki militant groups, then you don't know what kind of scary security situation you are staring at, and that is a very, very scary situation to imagine, given the kind of hardship Manipur has faced in the last 10 months.
Let me go back to the issue of the protest that took place. Let me play out a small bite, then I'll go to General Sivach. I want to ask him a question. Let me play out that 43 seconds of bite.
See, whatever incident has happened in the past 10 months, we have lodged FIRs. And these FIRs means it has to be investigated. And most of them has been handed over by the government also to CBI and to other agencies. So these things will be there. And slowly it will come with full proof. So that's why it is good that the public also knows that they cannot just commit a crime and go away with it. The case will be there for 10 years, 20 years also, if required.
General Sivach, what I want to know is when 200 people, armed miscreants can vandalize household properties, they can gherav the residence of an SP. I mean, so what is it a failure of operational security? Is it a failure of intelligence, which is like a prior information? What does it tells us in context of the security grid? People came, they organized, and then the violence happened. So, what sort of, at what level you detect the failure here, which caused so much of resentment in police, sir? In constabulary.
I don't get the full question. Can you kindly repeat it? Because
I'm saying, sir, the armed miscreants numbering 200 coming in vehicles stormed the residence of Amit Singh at
yeah, I got it.
Under Paramput police station. So I'm saying, sir, you have handled thousands of people together, General. I mean, say, what sort of a failure is there? Is it intelligence? Is it operational? Or is it a failure of reacting to a sort of a situation? In a grid, what sort of failure do you see? If you were there, what would have been your assessment?
Yeah. See, Kartike, two things stands out. As far as this Arambai Tenggol group is concerned, it has become larger than the size. I think it has got a political patronage, and this has become very powerful. But one good thing has happened in Manipur, the Manipur police is coming and accepting no nonsense. They are working very objectively and they are very transparent now. And that's why they have taken action against those who are violating the law. And this young ASP Amit Singh was bold enough to apprehend that. But this is unfortunate that the 200, this cadre chap, and they have got together and they have voluntarily came and his house and abducted him. So that's done send a very good message. It means Tenggol, Arambai Tenggol is becoming a very powerful organization and action must be taken against that. There is no doubt. Now, 2-3 things more stand out. Every time the Methi group were telling that they don't want Assam Rifles, but they want a Manipur Police. They were thinking the Manipur Police will operate in their interest. Manipur Police is not operating anyone's interest. Manipur Police is operating on the interest of the nation. And they are now coming very strongly and taking action against those who are violating law. This is a very good message which has been sent. And these commandos which have protested against this, the police commando, I suppose we send a very good message to the public that in case if you support this Arambai Tenggol group, then don't blame it that the Armed Forces Special Power Act will be also there and there will be central forces which will be coming there, whether it is CRPF, Assam Rifle, and ultimately the army will also be deployed. I suppose this message has been sent loud and clear to the society that enough is enough. Now the Manipur Police will take action against anyone and everyone who is violating the law. So this incident sent this. And second thing is these young officers of Manipur Police, they are bold enough. They are not worried. They are taking against action against deporters.
If you would have been there, how can the hands of Manipur Police be strengthened? How can Manipur Police be strengthened to tackle these anti-social elements?
You know how it can be strengthened, Kartike? It is let them act objectively. Don't put any political pressure. I think that is the requirement of day. They are equipped, they are trained, they are motivated. And this is what is happening now. Probably to me, it looks like that the Manipur government has given them a complete freedom. Go against anyone and everyone who is violating the law. There should be no one should think that they are operating against a particular community. I think that's a very good message that has been sent in this incident, that we will not accept any nonsense. And they are also sending a message to the society. Do not support Arambai Tenggol group. If you support like this, then we will be constrained that the Central Armed Police Force will come, that is Assam Rifle, that CRPF, and then army has to also rope in. I suppose the other message is going. To me, it looks like that police is now start taking action. This is a very, very good, you can say important news which is coming from Manipur, that as on today, the young officer and the young soldiers are now challenging the authority of Arambai Tenggol. At the same time, society has to also cooperate with the police. They should not support a group like Arambai Tenggol, which is a more of a militant group. So I suppose this will happen. And the other issue which is coming is SU. That point is the government must give the extension to SU for 1 year, because it is after every year you are giving. Because till now, I suppose that SU is being operating as per the terms and conditions. There is no violation which has taken place. If there is a violation which has taken place, take action. But do not scrap that. You will find so many militant groups now start operating against the security forces. It will be a more challenge. I suppose the more you deal with them politically, diplomatically, is far better. So far they have operated within the given parameter. If they have not violated any rules and regulations, then you must not scrap it. You must give an extension. Kartikeya.
Okay, Suhas, I think you had a contrarian point of view. I just saw you were, instead of nodding top down, it was left to right and right to left. 1 minute, sir.
No, I was just thinking, the whole appeal of the Manipur Police to the public is absolutely wrong. It is an appeal which should have been made to the state government so that, they can enforce the rule of law. And there's a difference between these common citizens who are afraid of the Arambai Tenggol and the cadres of the Arambai Tenggol. It's not the common people who had gone there. They are not able to make this distinction simply because there is a political patronage which shall continue till the elections are conducted, for the general elections.
Okay, I think that's very well put. So I think broadly the bigger picture is that the SU agreements in our discussion, the panelists there's a unanimous agreement that the SU agreements must continue. Most of the panelists said that they should continue because if you take them out of the agreement, it means that they become the part of the war theatre. But there is also an agreement within our panel that the hands of the Manipur police must be strengthened. I would say that they should be made immune from any political pressure. Manipur police must be given that elbow room, administrative elbow room to tackle all these anti-social elements, because what has happened there is gravely wrong. And I am not one of those blind eye bhakts of any governmental organization, but when it comes to national security, then there has to be a resolve, and that resolve has to be that you should stand in unison and help out army, police to quell any public unrest, because it is nation first, India first, Manipur first. And in that context, I would say the conclusion of the show is the hands of the Manipur police must be strengthened. They should be given all the opportunity to tackle all these social miscreants, armed civil society activists who have become a bane both in the valley and in the hill.